Hey, welcome to the Log Cabin. My name is Allison, and today we are doing a Survivor 48 character ranking. And let's set the criteria for this. The criteria here is just how entertaining you are. That's what's important to me here. Um, and longevity a little bit, because I mean, if you were the first boo and you're amazing TV like a Jelensky, I can't put you in number one because you were the first boot. But that's not as in consideration as with the player ranking, just because it's less important here to me. To where let's just get started with it. At number 18, we have Bianca, and Bianca was in the show for like 5 episodes and was so boring. She was barely there, and when she was, I don't remember anything she said besides, like, her swap confessional, and even then, I barely remember. It's just her going on about how she needs to survive the vote without a vote. She's just nothing. The person she was connected to was so much better, but I can't give her anything. At number 17, our favorite pizza man, Justin. Besides his funny accent to me, and him talking about pizza, he was also nothing. He was very game body. I didn't mind him, but he doesn't have any outstanding character moments. To where with that, he's just at 17. At number 16, we have a first boot in Steph. Steph's not bad. She's just not a great character. I think she's fun. It's just if she would have lasted longer, she would have been better. She didn't get to really show off her personality in one episode. And our episode was more focused on how, oh, Steph is playing so passively. And even then, I can't even count that because that's more of a game thing than character. To where that leaves her at 16. At number 15, we have this season's Golden Retriever. We have Kevin. And Kevin is alright. He's got some fun moments. There's one that missed a show completely in his fly confessional in the preview. That's cool. And on the show, he's fine. He does get overconfident. That's kind of fun. So that leaves Kevin at 15. At number 14, we have Cedric. And Cedric has a pretty good game in my eyes. But he's boring. There's nothing I can remember besides the way he takes out Justin. To where that's one of my favorite moments this season. The way he's just like, Justin, I'll be seeing you in a month because I'm keeping her. It's just so over the top. And the confessional about his kids wanting him to just do something cool because he's a colonoscopy surgeon. That's cool and all, but besides that, he doesn't have much. At number 13, we have Charity. And Charity's content is mostly her just being overconfident for the whole game, and that's at least interesting. And her downfall can be a little interesting, but besides that, there isn't much to her either. At number 12, we have Mitch, where I think Mitch's TV character is pretty boring. Didn't bring much to the show at all, game nor character wise. But at least he has the storyline of him with his stutter, to where we get a great moment with him and Cedric bonding, because Cedric had a stutter when he was younger, which was cool, and I'm glad he got to be represented on the show and get to go for the journey of a lifetime. But besides that, he's not much. At number 11, we have someone who just, if they were edited better, would be higher, and that's Chrissy. Where I think when Chrissy was on screen, she was so fun. Especially her last two tribals. She was so fun. Her take no one attitude is amazing and something this season needed, but she didn't get to be on there long enough, and she was barely in the show editing wise because she didn't matter to the story. But I mean, her calling the Strong Alliance out at both her tribals is so great to watch. And then on Bianca's exit, as Bianca's sobbing, she's like, she lied to us, right? To say, and is calling Bianca out on her way, and that's a fun moment as well. To where that leaves Chrissy at number 11 for me. At number 10, if this person made the end of the season, they would be number 1. That's Thomas. Thomas is a great villain we needed this season. Too bad he didn't get to make it far. But, I mean, Thomas was fun. he's just a great villain in my eyes. There's no outstanding moment to me besides him talk talking about how Bianca's a great liar when Bianca goes on the journey and tells him what actually happened. But there's no like other notable moments to me. But also, he does have a black eye for the last few days of the season, which is weird. At number 9, we have David, and David's fun. Talks about chocolate milk all the time. Is very overconfident. We also get this very interesting storyline about him and his ex now girlfriend, where he'll leave him if he doesn't win the game, which is an interesting storyline as well. But like, besides that stuff, he's alright. I don't think he can be top because he was fun at all times. But the people above David here, I found more fun when they're on screen. At number 8, we have Shaheen, who does feel like a modern Penner, just toned down a bit, which sucks, but at the same time, I think Shaheen was pretty fun. I liked him a lot. He was always rootable. At the same time, he was just fun to watch in general. Especially his last episode. I mean, just very fun. Him just singing the song on the vocals in the Survivor music on his way out. And him bickering with Jeff at the challenge. I think it was pretty fun. And then also his fight with Joe. I mean, Shaheen has some good moments here. He's just not as good as the others on this list. At number 7, we have Mary, who just would be higher if she was more shown. But her pre-merge was so fun to watch. When you get the cuss in your first confessional, you know the producers like you. And Mary is someone who just has an attitude I love watching, and that's another take no prisoners attitude. She's sassy, she's spunky, and I really like seeing that. It's fun to see that on Survivor. Even though it may be a archetype we've seen a lot, but she reminds me a lot of Courtney Yates. Just not as good, sadly. And at number 6, we have Star, a very unique character who just didn't get shown enough. When she was on screen, we got some fun moments. We got her rap, which I'm not the biggest fan of personally, but I can acknowledge how fun that is. And just the way she talks, her calling the tribe fire, her high energy, her just sitting in the woods like a gremlin, solving the idol. I mean, Star's a fun character. She was very fun to watch. Just didn't get shown enough. At number 5, we have Kyle. And Kyle's only this high because his longevity, plus also his storyline of facing his overconfidence, I think is interesting to see. I wish they portrayed that better, but I think it's an interesting storyline, especially for a winner. And he's just an affable guy. He's just a guy most people can like very easily, and he's just easily rootable. At number 4, we have Eva, and Eva's mainly this high because of her very emotional storyline of her autism, her moment with Joe, and most moments with Joe and Eva are amazing, but that seems to be mainly from Joe, but also, obviously, Eva plays a part in being the one breaking down. But another thing that's fun about her is that I mostly dislike this most of the time, but at least in this case, just as a person, I like the fact she's always positive. Even outside the game, she's been very positive and very complimentary of others, to where that leaves her at number 4. At number 3, we have Joe, and Joe's this high because of his storyline with Eva, obviously, but also just his wrestling concern face, his overtop reactions to like Joe and to Kyle and Eva revealing their jobs, and his reaction to Shaheen waking him up in the middle of the night, and him just being a very likable guy, us clearly having a root for Joe, and him just showing. He also has some fun confessionals. The Wrath of a Scorned Woman is a fun one, and the way he describes things sometimes can be very fun. He has a very logical way of thinking that he gets to express well in his confessionals, which is fun to see. At number 2, we have the other split tribal player, and we have Say. I mean, come on. If you dislike a player because they're a villain in the show, not a bad person, I think they're doing something right. They're very clearly doing something right. People dislike the coach. People dislike Rome last season. I dislike to say, in context, that makes her so fun to watch. She was constantly causing chaos on the Avula tribe, and her dynamic with Mary is a very fun one. Both of them having mutual respect for each other, but she's still playing hard. Where, like, in confessionals, I think she needs work. She's not that great in confessionals. But her reactions are some of the best we've seen, in my opinion, especially recently. Her constant shock, especially at, like, the Swap Tribal and the Kevin Tribal. Her fighting against Justin in the Justin Tribal. That first tribal, she causes a bunch of chaos, causes a fight mid-tribal. I mean, how can you not love Say? And at number one, mainly because of longevity, we have Carmilla, and I think Camilla's a great character this season. She's snippy, she's, again, spunky, but she does have another good storyline, just like a good few others on this list, where her storyline was overcoming her self-doubt, a storyline that doesn't really get focused on until late game, but when it does, it's a good storyline, especially with the way it comes together. Could have came together a little better with her, like, wedding something, like farm working, or bam. But her losing farm making and still being able to be positive adds on to that storyline. And confessionals are probably the biggest thing, like her saying Joe and David should instead be in the Olympics and not Survivor, and her constantly talking about how she wants to be scheming and being so happy when she finally can be scheming. Camilla's a fun one to me. And with that, that's everybody. This is shorter. I think it's just, without any notes in front of me, harder to talk about Survivor characters compared to players, where I can remember a lot more game moves compared to character moments, especially from this season, which was lacking in that, if I'm honest. But stay tuned. This finishes our coverage of Survivor 48, thank God. But, we have Survivor 45 review we did a while ago. I plan to edit and post. We still need to do a 50 cast reaction, Traders cast reaction. And when Big Brother comes, we're going to do some coverage on that as well once they finally post their cast. I don't know why they haven't yet. God, CBS. But that's it for today. Thank you for joining us at the log cabin, and we'll see you next time. Bye.